Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, my name is David Perlman. I'm the Musical and Education Director here at Temple Habonim. Welcome to Temple Habonim. There's a couple of things that you'll need here at Temple Habonim. Yes, you are here at Temple Habonim. You'll need your blue siddur if you would like to follow along. Don't feel pressured to follow along if you don't want to. You can just enjoy the experience as you would like. You'll also need this blue program if you'd like to get to see a little bit of the flow. You will also want a Torah sheet if you would like to follow along with the Torah. If you don't have that, feel free to grab it right now, and that's a good thing. I hope you all had a nice week. Obviously, you're all here for Zoey's bat mitzvah. We're very excited that you're all here, and we're really excited to honor Zoey in this way. Usually, my partner in prayer, Rabbi Howard, would be here with me. Unfortunately, he is not well, so he'll be okay in a few days, but not for today. So don't worry, same old thing. Zoey's going to take over most of it anyway, so we're going to be in good shape. Shabbat Shalom means may you have a wonderful and peaceful Sabbath, the seventh day. Chance for you to relax. Toss away what you didn't want from last week. Keep what you do want for next week. Take a big old breath. Know that clapping is encouraged, smiling is encouraged. If you want to clap, we would do a little one of these. And the best way that you can support Zoey is by singing along and participating in whatever way that feels right to you. Let's sing one more time. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. If you want to clap, you can go like this. Clap, 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 clap. Yalai, la, 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 yalai, yalai, la, 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 yalai, la, la, la. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Did forget to mention two things. The bathrooms are through that exit sign over there. You'll figure it out. It's not the hugest temple in the world, but we also have some ushers out in the front. If you have any questions, you can feel free to get up and during the service. And I think that's it. So, we're going to be on page 185 to start. Oh yes, this is what I was going to say. Hopefully you're wearing a mask. We're doing this out of an abundance of caution and respect for everybody, everyone who traveled on a plane to get here, everyone who came by car. We would hope that you would keep your mask on during the service. If at some point you're feeling uncomfortable or you're not able to do that, you can go ahead and just take a step outside, and hopefully you'll feel okay. Page 185. I enter this sacred space to voice the longings of my heart in prayer. In sacred company, I offer my love to the Holy One. I devote myself this morning to psalm and song, study and prayer. May my heart be lifted, may my thoughts be deepened, and may my soul, like the eagle, soar. We're on page 188 understand where to clap, we'll do it twice. Here we go. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achayot gam yachad. You guys must have done this before. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achayot gam yachad. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achayot gam yachad. It is now my pleasure to introduce our bat mitzvah, Zoe Weiser, and both of her grandmothers, to present the talit. Please come up at this time.
Zoe, we're so proud of you today. When you wear this talit, you will be recognized as an adult in the Jewish community, and I hope that you remember this day and all the people who cared for you.
You feel the same way. You have a heart of gold. You have a heart of kindness. You have a heart of caring. And you always put everyone first. We love you with all our heart. Mazel tov.
Baruch atah Adonai Elohim melech haolam asher quichanu v'mitzvotav v'tzivanu mitachet v'atzitzi.
Amen. Thank you so much. It's now my pleasure to call up Zoe's cousins, Rachel and Sarah Goldstein, for a reading on health. Will be on page 185.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe. With divine wisdom you have made our bodies, combining veins, arteries, and vital organs into a finely balanced network. Wondrous maker and sustainer of life, were one of them to fail, how well we are aware we should lack the strength to stand before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of our health and strength. Baruch atah Adonai, rofei kol basar umali lasot.
Thank you, Rachel and Sarah. This is not the last you will see of Rachel and Sarah, as they'll be back up to help dress the Torah and undress the Torah a little later in our service. It's now my pleasure to call to the Bima family friend Laura Barbosa for a prayer on the soul on page 197 on the bottom of the page.
My soul came to me pure, drawn from the reservoir of the holy. All the time it remains within me. I am thankful for its thirst, for compassion and justice. Let my eyes behold the beauty of all creatures. Let my hands know the privilege of righteous deeds. Baruch atah Adonai. Baruch. Did I do it right? Sorry. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Laura. We are now on page 198 as we call Zoe Weiser to the bima. Zoe will stay up here for the majority of the time as she is co-leading this service. So, Zoe, we are, again, page 198 will flow to 200 and 202 for Nisim B'chol Yom, our daily miracles.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lasek bina, lehavchin ben yom uvin laila.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hokeach ivri.
Amen.
Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asuri.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, zokev kefufi.
Amen.
Page 200. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, rokah haaretz al hamayim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechin mitzadei gaver.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arumim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hanutein laya'ef koach.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hama'avir sheina me'enai, utnuma me'afapai.
Amen.
Page 202. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzelem Elohim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani bat chorim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Israel begvura.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, oter Yisrael b'tifara.
Amen.
Page 204. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kachanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to engage with words of Torah.
Page 206.
These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study, morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the story of Torah encompasses them all.
Amen. It's now my pleasure to call to the bima Rose and Jenny Barbosa for a reading on page 220.
Even if our mouths were full of song as the sea, and our tongues full of joy in countless waves, and our lips full of praise as wide as the sky's expanse, and were our eyes to shine like sun and moon, if our hands were spread out like heaven's eagles, and our feet were swift like young deer.
We could never thank you adequately, Adonai, our God and God of our ancestors, to bless your name for 10,000s of many myriads of time. You granted favor to our ancestors and to us.
We continue at the top of page 224. What makes
We're going to continue on page 225 first and then come back to 224.
What makes a fire burn is space between the logs, a breathing space, too much of a good thing, too many logs, packed in too tight, can douse the flames almost as surely as a pail of water would.
Please join me. So building fires requires attention to the spaces in between as much as to the wood.
When we are able to build open spaces in the same way we have learned to pile on the logs, then we can come to see how it is fuel and absence of fuel together that make the fire possible.
Again, together. We only lay a log lightly from time to time. A fire grows simply because the space is there, with openings in which the flame that knows just how it wants to burn can find its way.
We continue at the top of page 224 with the Chatzi Kaddish, which moves us from the introductory part of the service to the Shema and its blessings, which declare God's unity. Yikadav Yikadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Balma Devrach Yerutev Yalmich Malkute. Bechayechon Uvyomechon Uchaydecho Beit Yisrael. Bagala Bagala Uvizman Kariv Ve'imeru.
Amen.
Yehishmei Rabba Mevarach La'alam Me'al Maya.
Yitbarach.
Yiparach, V'yishtabach, V'yapar, V'yitramam, V'yitnaseh, V'yithadar, V'yithale, V'yithalal, Shamei Dekudasha,
Barechu.
Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, Da'amiran ba'alma, Ve'imeru.
Amen.
Please turn to page 226 and rise for the Barku. Baruchu et Adonai hamivorach. Baruch Adonai hamivorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai hamivorach leolam va'ed. We continue on page 229. In the beginning, even then, a new light was sown for the righteous, a promise that your light would become the catalyst, first for order and then for hope. Author of language and light, help us to use words as you have, to cast light into dark waters, and to draw out justice and truth. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer Hamorot. We continue on page 231. Love your neighbor as yourself, you said, and light blinded we saw, that inner and outer worlds are one, and you are one. You spoke and we wrote. We reached for you down the centuries, your light moving before us as we climbed, fell back and climbed again, your Sinai for life. Baruch atah Adonai, hambocher ba'amo Yisrael be'ahava. Please join me in the Shema on page 232. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem, Kevod Malachuto, Leolam Va'ed. Please be seated and join me in the Ve'ahavta on page 234, first in Hebrew and then in English. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol avcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol modecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele Asher Anoki mitzavcha, hayom al levavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvlechtecha v'derech, uvshokbecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot beineinecha, uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha, laman tiskeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'yitem kedoshim le'elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzitziechem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem le'elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on your doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments, and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Please join me responsively on page 239. The eternal truth is that you alone are God, and there is none else.
May the righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and exult in your justice.
Let them beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks.
Let nation not lift up sword against nation, nor learn war anymore.
You shall not hate your brother or your sister in your heart.
The stranger that sojourns with you shall be accepted as your equal, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt.
Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor? God asks.
We know that the Eternal One defends the poor and upholds the rights of the needy.
Praise to God Most High.
Blessed is God and deserving of blessing. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Feel free to clap. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Yes. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot oseh pele, nora tehilot oseh pele. Who is like you? Who is like you? Adonai. Who is like you? Adonai. So imagine you were oppressed. Maybe you weren't quite a slave. Maybe you're not crossing a sea. Maybe it's not so dramatic like that. But perhaps you felt oppressed in the last COVID time. Perhaps you felt oppressed or lost, and now you're coming out of that situation. How would you feel? Would your heart feel sad and mournful? Or would your heart be inspired? I look at your faces today and I feel inspired. So let's sing one more time. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Oh, Tzor Yisrael, Kuma Bezrat Yisrael, Ufreishinu Mecha Yehuda veYisrael. Go Aleinu Adonai Tzvaot Shemo Kadosh Yisrael. Baruch Atah Adonai Gaha Yisrael. We're on page 243. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will.
Please rise and join me in the tefillah, the heart of our worship service, beginning on page 242. Adonai sifatai tivtach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Page 244.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'Imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzhak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Imahot Umevi Gula Libnei Bneihem Laman Shmo Be'ahava Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagin Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah. Page 246. Atagi bor le'olam Adonai, mechaye hakol atav rav le'oshia, morid hatal, mechakel chayim bechesed, mechaye hakol barachamim rabim, somech noflim verofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar michamocha bal gevurot umidom melach melech memit umechaye umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman ata lechayot hakol baruch ata Adonai mechaye hakol. Page 248. Nekadesh Shimcha Ba'olam Kashem Shemakdeshim Oto Bishmei Maram Kakatuv Ayad Nivecha Vikara Ze'el Zevamar Kadosh 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 Adonai Tzivkaot Melocho Ha'eretz Kivodo Adir Adirenu Adonai Adonenu Ma'adir Shimcha B'cho Ha'aretz Baruch Kivod Adonai Minkumo Echad Hu Eloheinu Hu Avinu Hu Makeinu Hu Moshienu V'hu Yashmienu Birachamav le'enei kol chai Ani Adonai Eloheichem Yimloch Adonai le'olam Elochai Tzion Ledor Vador Hallelujah. vador nagid godlecha. Ulenetzach netzachim kedushatcha nagdish. V'shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush leolam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai ha'el ha'kadosh.
Please be seated. We continue on page 250. Those who keep Shabbat by calling it a delight will rejoice in your realm. The people who hallow Shabbat will delight in your goodness, for being pleased with the seventh day you hallowed it as the most precious of days, drawing attention to the work of creation. I hope you are all paying attention to the work of creation, feeling the warmth outside that we've been craving so long here in the East Bay. Yismechu b'malechutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'koreh oneg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malechutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'koreh oneg Shabbat. Mekadesheh mekadesheh shevi Shabbat. Kulam yisba'u Vayitangu mitvecha Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'koreh oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'koreh oneg Shabbat. V'hashvi'i ratzita bo v'kdashto Shabbat. Chemdan yamim oto kerata Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'koreh oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'koreh oneg Shabbat. Zecher Lemase Bereshit Shabbat. Zecher Lemase Bereshit Shabbat. Yismechu b'malechutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'koreh oneg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malechutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'koreh oneg Shabbat. It's now my pleasure to introduce cousins Libby and Steve Pizer for a reading on prayer. We're on page 255, 255.
On this holy Shabbat, may we draw nearer to life, to peace, and to joy.
May we find true rest, goodness, holiness in our deeds, value and worth in our study of Torah.
Let us feed on the love of goodness. Let us drink from the love of goodness. Restrain our thirst for excess and cleanse our hearts to serve life well.
On this holy Shabbat, may we draw nearer in life, in peace, and in joy.
Baruch atah Adonai she'orcha levadcha b'yirah navod.
Amen.
Well, thank you so much. Page 256. I find that if I start my day with gratitude, thinking about the things I have rather than the things I don't have, it's a better day. Take a second. think about something that you're particularly grateful for today. Page 256. We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God, and the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one, whose mercies never end, O compassionate one, whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you. For all these things, O sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. It's now my pleasure to call up Aunt Joan and Uncle Dave Rifkin for a piece reading on page 259.
Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes, strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of our world. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praise are you, Adonai, who bless your people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, Hambarach E'amo Yisrael Bashalom.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think we can all agree that we could use a little more peace in our world. As I like to mention during worship services, peace starts within your own heart. It's allowed to flow from there to the other people around you, maybe to the rest of your country or your state, country, world. But it doesn't start until you find peace within your own heart. We're going to sing Sim Shalom on page 258. Then we'll have a moment for private reflection, silent prayer. When we come back, we'll be on page 260 for Oseh Shalom. Sim Shalom Tova Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Chen v'chesed v'rachamim Chen v'chesed v'rachamim Rachamim Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael Amecha Sim Shalom Tova uvracha, sim shalom, Tova uvracha, Tova uvracha. Ose shalom, shalom bimrama, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ose shalom, shalom bimrama, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Uyase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevet. Ose shalom, shalom bimrama, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ve'al kol Yisrael, amen. May the one who makes peace in the high heavens make peace for us, all Israel, and all who inhabit the earth. And we say together, Amen. If you can feel the natural transfer of energy, you'll know that something big is about to happen. Yes, it is time for Torah. So, we're going to be on page 363. And I would like to invite up Andy and Toby Weiser, Harriet and Richard Fingerroth, and Ginger and Mitchell Weiser. Page 363. I should also mention during this moment that usually because Rabbi Howard would be here organizing these logistics, we have our always dependable Leslie Katz, who I know is right around here somewhere. Yes, and you'll see Leslie come up here. I just wanted to make a quick mention that as we have all the generations here on the Bima supporting Zoe, that's what a community does. When there's difficult situations, we step in for each other. That's what hopefully our parents have done for us and their parents have done for them, and what we'll do for our children. And so what a fitting moment, as Leslie has always been here for me in the congregation, to step into this role. I'm so internally grateful, Leslie. I really appreciate it.
Happy is the one who finds wisdom, the one who gains understanding. For its value is greater than silver, its yield is fine gold. It is more precious than rubies, no treasure can match it. We continue at the top of page 364. Please rise.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, ki mitzion tetzei Torah, udevar Adonai miYerushalayim. V'dor v'dor nagid golecha, v'dor v'dor we protect this chain. Generation to generation, V'dor v'dor, these lips will praise your name. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu. Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadol Adonai Iti, Unaramama Shemo Yachtav. Lecha Adonai Hagedula, V'Hagevura, V'Hatiferet, V'Hanetzach, V'Hahod. Ki ho b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, ki ho b'shamayim u'ba'aretz. Lecha Adonai hamamlacha, v'amin na'aseh lechol erosh. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'yitzchachu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'yitzchachu lehar kodsho. Will you clean that off? Move those pieces. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Let's do that again. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. One more for good measure. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'yishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'yishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, v'lo yimedu od milchama. Yisagoy el goy cherev, v'lo yimedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, v'lo yimedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, v'lo yimedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, v'lo yimedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yimedu od milchama. Thank you so much. You can go to your seats. I should mention that Sam is one of our star madrachim, our student teachers in the school, and watching him take control of a situation is something I'm very used to. Thank you so much, Sam. Today we are reading Parshat, well, I'm not reading anything. Zoey will be chanting Parshat Emor, Leviticus chapter 22, verses 17 through 28. We will also have Zoe's brother, Sam, and grandfather, Rick, are going to be chanting a bit too. So we'll have that to look forward to. You'll need your Torah sheet now if you have it. And if you don't, it's okay. You can grab one, or you can just sit and enjoy the goodness that is Zoe chanting the Torah. Thank you. All right. So. I should also mention that if you're not familiar with Torah chanting, we have an aliyah, someone who will recite the blessing before and after the Torah service. It's considered an honor. And after the Torah, Zoe chants beautifully from the Torah. We'll actually be hearing some words of Torah. So if you don't understand what the words are that she's chanting, don't worry. She'll explain it to you in great detail. First, we call to the bima Harriet and Richard Fingeroth, Ginger and Mitchell Weiser. Ya'amdu Chaya Golda Bat Avram Zalman Nachama HaKohen Reuven ben Moshe V'Giddo Chana Golda Moshe Yachil ben Abba. Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher B'harmanu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe lemur, daber el Aharon ve'el banav, ve'el kol bnei Yisrael, va'amarta alehem, ish mi beit Yisrael, umin hager b'Yisrael, asher yakriv karbano, l'chol nidreihem u'l'chol nidvotam, asher yakrivu l'Adonai, Le'olah, lirtzonechem, tamid zachar, babakar, bakshavim, uva'izim.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten HaTorah.
Amen. Thank you so much, grandparents. For the second aliyah, we are going to call Ari and Tamar Fingeroth, Craig, Tanya, Rachel, and Sarah Goldstein. Tamdu, all of the family, come on. Here's your chanting. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Amen.
Kol asher bo mum lo takrivu, ki lo leratzon yihiyeh lachem. Ve'ish ki akriv zavach shlamim ladonai lefalei neder o lindava babakar o vatzon tamim yihiyeh leratzon kol mum lo yihiyeh bo averet o shavur o charutz o yabelet o garav o yalefet lo takrivu eile ladonai V'isha lo titnu mehem al hamizbeach ladonai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tachenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. You ready? What's that? But you want to grab your spot. It's on this line. I think it's for sure. Right there. Okay. Ari, Tamar, Craig, Tanya, Rachel, Sarah, and of course Eitan wanting to have his bar mitzvah today. We'll have to wait a little bit. Thank you so much for being here and for coming up for that aliyah. For our third aliyah, we will call Zoe's parents, Andy and Toby Weiser, to the bima. Ta'amdu, Devorah Leah Bar Chaya V'Reuven, Abba Mendel ben Moshe V'Chaya. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vishur vaseh sarua v'galut narava taseh oto ul neder lo yeratzeh uma'uch v'chatut v'natug v'charut lo takrivu ladonai uvartechem lo ta'asu umiyad b'nechar lo takrivu at lechem Elohechem mikol ele ki mishchatam bahem mum bam lo yeratzu lachem.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. We're going to ask Toby and Andy to stay up here as we call Zoe Weiser, our bat mitzvah, to the Torah for her aliyah Tam dud gidol figa bat abba v'dovora alya bat Torah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Amen.
Vayidaber Adonai el Moshe lemur. Shur o chesev o es ki yivaled v'haya shiv'at yamim tachat imo. Umiyom hashmini v'hala yeratzeh l'korban ishe l'Adonai. V'shur oseh otov et beno lo tishchatu b'yom echad. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet mechayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. So when someone does a fantastic job, like Zoe just did, chanting the Torah, we say, may you go forward in strength. The words in Hebrew are Yasher Koach. So together, 1, 2, 3. Yasher Koach. Wow, that was fantastic. You guys can go ahead and sit down. And we have one more treat, which is that Zoe's brother, Sam, a couple years removed from his bar mitzvah, almost to the day, and her grandfather are going to be coming back up and chanting a little bit on their own. So before I call you up, I'm just going to make sure the Torah is in the right place. I think that's it. Great. Tam du Reuven ben Moshe v'Giddo, Zalman Yaakov ben Abba v'Devorah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Amen.
Ve'ish ki yakeh kol nefesh adam mot yumat umakeh nefesh behema yeshalmena nefesh tachat nefesh ve'ish ki ten mum ba'amito ka'asher asa ken ye'aseh lo shever tachat shever ayin tachat ayin Shein tachat shein, ka'asher yitain mum ba'adam, ken yinatain bo.
Umakei behema yoshamena, umakei adam yumat. Mishpat echad yeh lachem kager, ka'azrach yeh ki. Ani Adonai Eloheihem, Vayidaber Moshe, El Bnei Yisrael, Vayosi'u et HaMikalel, El Michutz L'Machaneh, V'yigmu Oto, Aven, Uvnei Yisrael Asu, Ka'asher, Tziva Adonai et Moshe.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chaye olam nata betochenu, Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. And we can do another Yasher Koach. That was beautiful. Yasher Koach. If you want to give Zoe a hug. In the presence of the Torah, we think about those who aren't feeling well, in body, mind, or spirit. COVID has been very difficult on all of us, whether you've gotten it or not. Today, obviously, we're thinking about Rabbi Howard. We know you're watching. It's not the same without you, but we're hopeful that you'll have a speedy recovery. As my eyes meet yours, if there's anyone who you'd like to share a name of, somebody who's struggling, maybe that person is yourself. Feel free to do so at this time. We're on page 371.
Mekor habracha limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. And let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu, mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
I should also mention that Leslie is a very gifted, talented singer and our ritual chair. Although she's giving up that post to her husband Jerry so that she can become our next vice president, in line to become president. Thank you for singing with me, Leslie. It's such an honor, and I know everybody in the congregation felt it too. At this time, I would like to invite up Uncle Craig Goldstein for Hagbah. Keep in mind, that's there. And we're on page 370. Please rise. And anyone who's going to be dressing the Torah, please come back up. V'zot haTorah asher tzah Moshe livnei bnei Yisrael api Adonai b'yad Moshe. Yalalai lai lai lai, yalalai lai lai lai, yalalai lai 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 lai, yalalai lai lai, yalalai lai lai lai, yalalai lai 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 lai. Yalla lai 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 lai, yalla lai 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 lai, yalla lai 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 lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai 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 lai, Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la ya la la ya la. La 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Please be seated. Craig, thank you so much. Eitan wants every single part of this service, I'll tell you. I should mention, it's very fitting that Eitan wants to come up here and is choosing to make some noise because whenever I would work with Zoe on Zoom, her dog would chirp out a lot. So you've been used to having noises in the background. Yes, absolutely. It's now my pleasure to introduce Michelle and Manny Gonzalez. Michelle is on the board here at Temple Habonim, and the Gonzalez have been very involved in our temple over the last many years. Page 376.
Ready? Mm-hmm. Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us: love of Torah, devotion in prayer and support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy. Baruch atah Adonai, she'adaka levadcha b'yira na'avod.
Michelle, Manny, we're so grateful to have you in our congregation. I feel like I'm looking at family when I see you. And it's nice to have Sabrina and Joe here as well, representing the Gonzalez family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please rise as we put the Torah back in the ark. Hoda l'eretz v'hayim, Doro elayado, Tehila l'chol chasidav, Livnei Yisrael am kirovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. When Torah entered the world, freedom entered it. The whole Torah exists only to establish peace.
Its highest teaching is love and kindness. What is hateful to you, do not do to any person.
That is the whole Torah. All the rest is commentary. Go and learn it. Those who study Torah are the true guardians of civilization.
Honoring one another, doing acts of kindness, and making peace. These are our highest duties. But the study of Torah is equal to them all, because it leads to them all.
Let us learn in order to teach.
Let us learn in order to do.
Page 374. Eitz Chaim hi lemachazikim ba betomcheha meusha deracheha darchei Noah b'chol nativoteha Shalom Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Kadesh Yameinu Kekedesh. Please be seated. Leslie, one more giant thank you. What the heck did she just say in Hebrew? I don't know. Maybe you know. But I can guarantee you, you don't see the spin that Zoe takes coming. Zoe, it's time for your Devar Torah. I'm going to say it out loud so everybody we remind every student, and probably everybody who comes up here, slowly, loudly, and clearly, understanding that your 13-year-old voice is just as important as any other voice that will ever exist. Please come up for your Devar Torah.
Good morning and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
The Torah portion and more is in the book of Leviticus. It educates us about the Jewish holiday calendar, including the festivals of Shabbat, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot. The part of it more that I am focusing on for my bat mitzvah is the commandment to not harvest the corners of the fields, but to leave the corners of the field for the poor and the strangers. This is a commandment from God. While I do agree with the idea of sharing one's blessing with the less fortunate, I do not believe this should be a commandment. To put this in perspective, picture a farmer who is struggling and cannot feed his own family. With this as a commandment, his family would have to starve so that a stranger would not have to. This is a selfless act. I believe that one should not only care for others, but also care for themselves. In this scenario, the farmer should harvest some corners of the field and leave some for the stranger. This way, both the farmer and his family, along with the stranger, get some food. Overall, this passage speaks to me because I feel that it is important to share what I have with others and always look out for the stranger. Another significant aspect of this parsha are verses that discuss what makes an acceptable offering to God. It specifically states that this offering shall be without blemish or defect. It is thought that only perfect animals could be used as sacrifices because people viewed God as perfect. For me, this parsha relates to today's unhealthy standards about beauty and how our society views imperfections in people. This is why so many people, especially girls, wear makeup. Many feel the need to cover up blemishes such as acne, dry skin, pores, or any other so-called impurity. Research shows that boys used to have significantly higher suicidal rates, but now more and more girls are committing suicide, and today's beauty standards and judgment is not helping. Especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, where many people have been experiencing mental and physical struggles, beauty standards are so conflicting. Many people feel that they have to always look perfect on the outside, which can destroy them on the inside. I do not like using the words perfect nor imperfect, for everyone is beautiful in their own way. Moore outlines significant dates about different festivals that occur throughout the year. It also offers a window into how life was many years ago. It talks about what animals could be used for sacrifices, a tradition that no longer exists. Not to mention, it outlines some rules to protect those who are less fortunate. I believe that it is significant that even in the time of Torah, taking care of the stranger and helping the less fortunate was emphasized in Judaism. This matters to me personally because I feel strongly that the healthy should help the sick, and we should take care of all members of society. My bat mitzvah project has allowed me to combine my love of horses with my desire to help those in need. For my bat mitzvah, I have been raising money for a Greenlock Therapeutic Riding Center. Therapeutic horseback riding uses the motion of the horse to assist people with both physical and mental disabilities. This cause is important to me because during the COVID-19 pandemic, I have seen many friends struggle with mental health issues such as anxiety and depression. Therapeutic horseback riding is one way people who are struggling through this have been helped. When I go on a horse, I feel many different emotions. I feel a sense of freedom and relaxation, along with exhilaration and contentment. When on a horse, all of my worries seem to disappear. This can connect back to beauty standards. When one feels insecure about their beauty, riding a horse can relieve them from their insecurity. When on a horse, you don't care what others think of you or how you look. All you care about is the horse and the experience. As a bat mitzvah, I am so proud to be with you and to represent a tradition that takes care of those who are vulnerable and in need of help. I would like to thank my wonderful parents for guiding me to be a successful woman. I would also like to thank my grandparents and cousins for always being there for me, putting smiles on my faces and creating so many happy memories that I will cherish for the rest of my life. I would like to thank my friends who have always had my back and made me laugh when feeling down. I would like to thank Rabbi and Adina for helping and guiding me through my bat mitzvah journey and showing great kindness and patience towards me. And of course, David, you've not only been an amazing teacher, but an amazing friend. You've always found ways to keep me calm and happy in the most difficult situations. I cannot wait to continue you, Rabbi, and I's journey together in high school. And don't forget to keep me in mind when you need a babysitter. Lastly, but most of all, I would like to thank my brother. You have taught me so much and been so patient with me, even when I get on your nerves. I'm so grateful for such an amazing big brother and role model. I love you all so much. Shabbat Shalom.
I knew I was going to cry. I knew it was going to happen. Zoe, that was wonderful. Thank you so much. I hope you never stop sharing your wonderful opinion and wonderful voice. It's now my pleasure to call up not only Zoe's parents, Andy and Toby Weiser, but also Zoe's brother, Sam Weiser.
Zoe, you know I love you. One of my greatest joys
Closer to the microphone.
One of my greatest joys in life is watching you interact with your brother, with your cousins, with your friends. You are a sweet, social, amazing, amazing person. You understand people, and you're empathetic and a wonderful friend to everyone. You also have enough sass to keep life interesting. I know that wherever life leads, you'll be a force of positivity. On the lacrosse field, on the slope snowboarding, on the road cycling, or on the back of a horse. Continue living life to the fullest. Enjoy the day. Mazel tov on everything you've accomplished. And I'm always so proud to be your mom. And Rabbi Howard and David, great leaders enable people to lead independently. So thank you for preparing Zoe so well for today. And we miss you, Rabbi. Thank you, David. I love you.
So I'd also like to start by thanking everyone who helped make this day happen. Thank you, Rabbi Howard, and best wishes for a speedy recovery. And also thanks to David and Adina for the support you've given to Zoe over the years here at Temple Habonim, and especially these past few months as she prepared for her bat mitzvah. As many of you know, planning a bat mitzvah during a global pandemic is no easy task, and Toby and I want you to know how much we appreciate all that you've done to accommodate us today. I also want to thank Zoe's brother Sam. Sam has spent many hours helping his sister with her bat mitzvah studies, and he spent countless hours curating photos for the incredible photo montage that came out absolutely fantastic. You are all amazing. We could not have achieved this day without you. So, Zoe, I was about to come up here and talk about what an amazing achievement you just completed, but I quickly realized it's much more than that. Since we stood upon this bima almost 3 years ago to the day, our world, your world, changed suddenly, without warning, and not in any subtle way. And yet, as this pandemic raged on, you learned how to deal with it. You learned how to adapt. You Zoomed, you FaceTimed, you joined worlds, you snapped, you TikToked, and then soon enough, you got back out on that lacrosse field and you got back up on that horse. And throughout this entire experience, you have maintained that Zoe spirit that we all adore. Zoe, you are a friend to many. To know you is to love you. You are funny, you are determined, you are genuine, and you are kind. What you have accomplished with your bat mitzvah goes well beyond the preparing for this day. You have succeeded in so many ways against a variety of challenges. As this world shifted, you stayed grounded. I can only imagine what you're going to accomplish when this thing is behind us. The world became a little sweeter the day you were born, and I can't wait to see what happens next. For all that you've done, and for all that you will do, I love you. Mazel tov.
All right, so now usually the sibling doesn't give a speech to the other sibling on her bat mitzvah, so I thought I would do just that. And the reason for that is because you are truly special. And I know it sounds cringy, everyone says that. My child is special because she is kind and smart and creative and kind. No, but it's different coming from a sibling. The fact that I'm up here complimenting you and not insulting you as usual validates the claims I'm about to discuss about you. I feel obligated to speak to you on the bima because of your profound qualities. To put it in a way you'll better understand it, if I didn't acknowledge you in this way, it would be like watching lacrosse players at tryouts and not putting the most distinct and skilled player on Division I. Your qualities extend far beyond your inherent sympathetic, mature, athletic, and academic nature. Your ability to make everyone around you smile is a gift that very few possess. Your contagious cheerfulness spreads faster than COVID, and I would know a thing or two about that. And the more people we have with that quality in the world, the happier and healthier it would be. Your maturity is unmatched by anybody else I know. And that's saying quite a lot, seeing as I live with you. And I have never heard you cuss on your own will, only when I trick you into it. That attitude will serve you tremendously well. It demonstrates your rare ability to control yourself in ways almost nobody can. One of Mom and Dad's favorite quotes of yours is, "You don't flip my bird." You were super young and had no idea what it meant. It was really random and hilarious because it seemed you just stuck random words together in a sentence and added an exclamation point to top it off. But somehow, you've kept true to that statement 10 years later. I have never seen you flip your bird. At karate, we are always trying to improve ourselves following a list of black belt principles, one of which is self-control. You, not having gone to a single class, have demonstrated that principle better than I have, having gone to hundreds. I would also like to highlight your undeniable perseverance throughout your bat mitzvah journey. Even in your own life, while balancing Division I lacrosse, heavy loads of schoolwork, horseback riding, and your social life, you have not faltered even at the most challenging times. You've excelled at them all. Also, in preparing for your bat mitzvah. Not only preparing for the service. In fact, you worked on your own centerpieces. You helped manage your own invite list. And I could continue, but the fact is I did none of that, and most people don't. But you aren't most people, a fact everyone around you will agree with without the slightest sign of hesitation. An admiration that I have for you is your persuasive character. And that doesn't sound so good at first, but you're able to succeed in convincing people to completely shift their perspective, always so far for the better. I don't know how you do it, but you're really, really good at it. You were able to convince your grandmother to fly from Florida to Rhode Island with a single phone call. You were able to convince Dad to get Maddie back in January of 2018. And initially he was totally opposed to it, wanted nothing to do with any dogs. And then a bit later, we drove as a family to go retrieve Maddie in Boston. And she has been a member of our family since, brightening up everybody in the household as she greets us at the front door. You are completely responsible for that. What's even more ridiculous is that you were able to do it again. Dad was adamantly opposed to getting Jack, and now we all share a laugh with him as a part of our family as well. And I really should say at him, as Jack is an easy guy to make fun of, as you know. Once again, it was all you. You should fight for what you adamantly want and believe in, because I know that for you, something that is worth fighting for weeks on end, is usually going to be for the better. And sometimes it won't work out, and that's okay, and I know this because everyone makes mistakes. You have always and will always be able to admit fault, which I should add is an extremely rare quality that you will carry throughout your future. If you continue to use your voice to achieve your goals, the world will be a better place for it. What I was told on my bar mitzvah day was to take time to reflect on my accomplishments. You have to do the same thing, but to a greater extent. You need to pause for a few minutes longer than I did once this is done, and remember what you have done the past half year, how you've balanced your life in ways many could only dream, and recognize that this is a major accomplishment that took all of the black belt principles to prepare for. You have achieved so much, and I am unspeakably proud of you. I know I pick on you, and I will continue to, as it is my responsibility to do so. Messing with you, as you know very well, is and always will be out of absolute love. Mazel tov, Zoey.
Debating if I should use my Rabbi Howard voice for this part of the service. I won't, but Rabbi does have some words for you, Zoey. I'm going to turn on this mic and make sure it's heard. Rabbi's in a tough spot. He came here about 2 years ago in the global pandemic, and now worked with you, Zoey, for a long time. And now he's not here to enjoy the fruits of his labor, so to speak, in the way that we would traditionally see that. I'm going to add this as a part that he did not write, which is that's what Judaism is. It's setting people up so that they can do it on their own. And so not only to Rabbi Howard, who has been an incredible mentor, but also to Rabbi Klein, who I can hear in the back of my head as we go through this. My mentors have really helped us be able to prepare for this day from one generation to the next. So, even though he's sick, Rabbi made a point to push himself because he couldn't not give you love on this day. Dear Zoey, well, it's entitled A Letter to Zoe Weiser on the day of her bat mitzvah. May 14th, 2022. Dear Zoey, first, I want you to know that I am watching this from home. The notes say, wave to me, and I promise I will wave back. So we can wave to Rabbi. So even though you can't see me, I can see you. I wish with all my heart that I was on the bima with you this morning, but instead, as a result of the two things in life that define this particular time in history, the internet and COVID, I am watching this moment happen instead of saying this to you in person. So, now that my virtual presence has been explained, let me just say that you've done an amazing job this morning. Mazel tov. You've been poised and confident, and most important of all, you have been Zoey. You have been yourself, modest and joyful and sweet. You have brought your friends, your family, and our congregation into this moment, and you have given all of us a Shabbat morning of celebration and holiness. For those things, Zoey, we are so grateful. Thank you for sharing your gifts with us. You too, Eitan. Zoey, when I was a younger rabbi, I used to think of this portion and more as kind of dull. It was a bridge portion, a bridge between the soaring language of the Holiness Code, last week's portion, and the inspiring socialist Jubilee year, next week's portion. And more was about the calendar. On this new moon, celebrate this holiday. On this full moon, celebrate the next holiday. And don't forget to build a sukkah and eat your matzah. It seemed like nothing more than a text version of the Jewish calendar, and since I already owned one, in fact, I get a new one every year, what did I need it more for? But over the years, as I've raised my family and watched my children grow up to be adults, I have a very different opinion about it more. And more isn't just an instruction manual for the Jewish holidays. It's a reminder that our holidays and rituals define and shape our lives. They give us a framework for living and remind us that even though most days feel just the same, other days, your Passover Seder, the 8th night of Hanukkah, the break fast on Yom Kippur, or the day you are called to the Torah for the very first time, gives our life meaning and significance. In the words of one of the great Torah films of all time, Inside Out, these are core memories, the ones that we remember and say, this is the reason I am the person that I am. Oh, Rabbi, get me verklempt. Zoe, as you explained so beautifully in your Devar Torah, the core memories that shape you, your loving relationship with horses, with your friends, with your family, your dad, your brother Sam, or most of all, the look you have in your eyes when you describe your mother, who gets up at dawn to muck out the stables, as you say, it's her happy place. These are the experiences that have made you the person that you are. And Zoe, the person that you are is a person I very much admire. It isn't just that you are genuine and sweet, it's that your genuineness, your friendliness, your warmth and sense of inclusion extends to every creature, human and animal, without exception. It's not just that you are a good friend, it's that your friendship with others is a statement of how the world ought to be, kind, compassionate, and thoughtful. It's not just that you are part of a warm, loving, extended Jewish family, filled with grandparents that you see often and cousins with whom you hang out. It's that your extended Jewish family has shaped you and guided you and let you know, both directly and indirectly, that the most important experiences one has in life are the ones you share with your family. Not because you're doing something special, but because sharing the moment with the ones you love is what makes life worth living. Zoe, thank you for giving us this day of celebration and joy. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and kindness, and most of all, thank you for being you. When my daughter Emily, who is now 26, was a teenager, she used to say about anyone she admired, that person is so wholesome. At first, I looked askance, because when I was growing up, wholesome was not a compliment. It meant the Waltons, or someone who never questioned authority. But for Emily, wholesome meant complete, a person who knew who they were, who had good values, and who made the world a better place to live in. In short, a person who was whole. Zoe, you are truly a wholesome person. You make the world a better place with your spirit, your compassion, and your love for your family and your friends. Like the Hebrew word shalom, which not only means peace, but wholeness or completeness, you have blessed the world with your presence, your shalom. Mazel tov. I am so proud of you and what you have done this morning. And we ask the congregation to rise now as we offer you God's blessing of wholeness, God's blessing of peace. May God bless you and keep you. May God make God's face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May God lift up God's countenance upon you and grant you the most precious gift, the gift of peace. Amen.
we conclude our service with the Aleinu, our prayer to make the world a better place, and the Mourner's Kaddish, our prayer to remember people who are no longer living. We continue in the middle of page 586.
Please remain standing.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, lated gedula liotzer breshid, shelo asanu kigoyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpechot adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'goralenu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, Livnei melech, malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu.
Page 591.
V'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz, Bayom hahu, yiyeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
Please be seated. Life is a precious gift. We're reminded that every day, especially as we top the 1 million mark who have died from COVID in the United States. We think about the Mourner's Kaddish, which doesn't mention death at all. It talks about the goodness of life, and to remember to live a good life. It's said during funerals that funerals exist in the Jewish tradition to not only mark a person's life and celebrate it, but also to teach all of us who are in the congregation for the funeral how to live our lives just a little bit better, to remind us that life is precious. Today, as we're so filled with joy, we're also remembering that there are some people who are not able to be here. I'm hoping that in the congregation you will share a name if you feel like you would like to, and you'll share something about them if you'd like to. And we'll start with the Weiser family. We now add any other names of someone remembering a yahrzeit or someone that they're remembering in this day. Thank you. If anyone would like to add a name, now is the time. We rise as one community, both for the names shared and for those who have no one to say Kaddish for them. We're on page 598, and we say the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit gadal ve'yit kadash shemei rabbah be'alma divera chirutei ve'yamlich malchutei v'chayei chon uvyomei chon uvchayei dechol beit Yisrael Ba'agala ubizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mivarach le'alam ul'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha barichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata Da'amiran be'alma ve'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shamaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yosvei tevel ve'imru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all who inhabit the earth, to which we say, Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Please be seated. It is now my pleasure to invite back up to the bima our board member, Michelle Gonzalez. I don't know exactly what your role is on the board anymore, Michelle, because you've done it all. You've really done it all. A good friend of the Weiser family, Michelle Gonzalez.
Okay, so real long speech planned, but not going to give it. Private, no. So I just want to say congratulations. Having watched you grow from birth, basically, to now, to see the change in you, to see the growth in you has been just a joy, almost as much as my own, more so because it was just easier. I got to send her home. But just to see you, I mean, up here, so poised, so in control, it was a joy. It was a real pleasure to watch you and see how much you have grown. So what I'm actually here is it was sisterhood. It's now the Women of Reformed Judaism, which it's still sisterhood to me because I like my sisters. It just works easier for me. And we're pleased to give you a few gifts from Temple Habonim. I'm going to let you take them all out, but I'm going to tell you what's in here so everyone else knows. One is the Mishkan Tefillah Reform Siddur with a personalized bookplate. The Siddur, which you used today to lead us so beautifully and intentionally. The next thing, which I really like, because I didn't get one, is a pewter Kiddush cup engraved with your name and date from the Cobo Fine Judaica Gallery in Brookline, Massachusetts. Judaism uses symbolism in so many ways, and you embody joy in all that you are and are joyous in all that you do. I got candlesticks. I think the Kiddush cup's better. Personal. A Brit Mitzvah certificate signed by Howard, David, and Ivan. You did it. You now have proof. It's in here. The certificate is signed by the Rabbi David and our board president, Ivan Wolfson. It states that you have officially, successfully led us in worship at Temple Habonim as a bat mitzvah. And along with the URJ youth, we're honored to present a $250 gift certificate to be redeemed toward tuition for NIFTY in Israel or URJ Heller High programs. Bless you. For generations, Reformed Jewish teens have traveled to Israel for summer of deep, meaningful engagement with Jewish history and peoplehood. We give you this certificate on the Bima, affirming the formative role the State of Israel will play in your Jewish journey. Use it in good health with the knowledge that a new phase of that Jewish journey begins now. Mazel tov again, Zoey. Temple Habonim and the Gonzalez family are so proud of you. So I'll give it to Mom for now.
Not so fast. We flip-flopped how this has gone over the years, Zoe. We're going to do Kiddush and Motzi first, and then we'll end with my comments and Alech Hilah, so I can compose myself a little bit. So, any of the people who are in your Brit Mitzvah class, please come up. And while you're doing that, I'll mention that here at Temple Habonim, we've made a switch from the word b'nai, which implies that there's a boy in the group, to Brit, which means the covenant. The reason we did that was to be more inclusive. In today's gender fluid world, it's important that we here at Temple Habonim stay as respectful and inclusive as we possibly can. And so that's with the name, in case you're wondering. And I'm happy to share more about it in the future if you'd like to know. It's nice to see all of you. Come on up. I'm also seeing Levi Robbins, who became bar mitzvah literally just last week wearing his tali. It's so wonderful to see you. Come on up, Paulina, Tanner, Zoe. And we'll lead in Kiddush, but you should probably have a cup, huh? Yeah. There you go. I'll take the top, you take the bottom. Great. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. L'chaim. To life. Is it wine or is it juice?
Juice.
Juice. I guess Simon didn't get to you like he got to his brother, huh? All right. Here we have the challah. Again, wine is our symbol of joy. Challah, our symbol of sustenance. May you be joyous and sustained. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. B'tei avon. And if you'd like some challah, you're welcome to tear into it.
Thank you.
No, thank you. If you guys would like some challah, you can tear into it, but do it from different sides. So, and if you wouldn't like, I can tell you don't want that. That's great. No worries. Okay, great. Okay. It's here. COVID safe. Thank you for being here. Please sit down. Awesome. It's a little strange. Last week, I mentioned that it was 25 years to the Torah portion of my bar mitzvah. And those of you who are above 18 / in their 30s and above, you understand how quickly time passes. I didn't understand that when people said time keeps going faster and faster and faster. When you're this age, Zoe, you think that time, it's forever. And yet, time just speeds by over and over and over and over. And before we know it, my page has changed. Before we know it, 38 years old, talking to somebody who's 13. Honestly, sometimes I feel like I'm still 13. The reason I share that with you is because I want you to take advantage of every moment. The rabbi said it better than I could have. You are a wholesome person. You are sweet. You are kind, but it's more than that. You seem to know who you are in a deeper way, a way that honestly I wish I could have at this age. When you talk about horses, I'm terrified. I can't get on a horse at all. And yet you're so confident with those pieces. I think the thing I admire the most about you is how confident you are to speak your truth, even when it's difficult. You share the good parts, you share the difficult parts, and you're just sort of like authentically you in a very non-13-year-old style of way. And so knowing that you're coming to high school is a really big deal for me to know that you'll be there. It's going to be great. Knowing that you're going to be involved in our congregation in the future, it's really exciting. And remembering the first or second grader that I met when I first came here to now is a little bizarre because I remember you, and I said this to you in private, that I remember you as a kid, and now I see you as the adult that you're going to be, and you kind of already are. And so, on page 645, we're going to sing Lechi Lach. Lechi Lach is a conversation between Abraham, the first Jew, and God. And Abraham's fighting with God, saying, I don't want this responsibility. I don't want to be chosen. Who would want that? God says to Abraham, you're going to be okay, but your ancestors, the people below you, or your descendants, the people who come after you, are going to suffer for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. It's terrifying. And yet God convinces Abraham to be a leader. Zoe, leadership is terrifying, and it is so incredibly rewarding. It's moments like these that make everything that I do each day meaningful, and it touches my heart so much. You're welcome to sing along with me. You're welcome to stand here and stare at all of the goodness that is Zoe. We sing Lechi Lach. The words literally mean go to yourself. Always be true to yourself, Zoe. Lechi Lach, to a land that I will show you. Lech Lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechi Lach, on your journey I will bless you. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi Lach. Lechi Lach. And I shall make your name great. Lech Lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lechi Lach, to the place that I will show you. L'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim. Lechi Lach. Please join me. You shall be a blessing. 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 Lechi Lach. Please take all of your papers and give them to the usher in the back, Leslie. Leslie, thank you so much. God, thank you so much to everybody for being here. And we say Shabbat Shalom and Mazel Tov. Mazel Tov. Hava Nagila, Hava Nagila, Hava Nagila v'nismecha. Hava Nagila, Hava Nagila, Hava Nagila v'nismecha. Hava neranana, Hava neranana, Hava neranana v'nismecha. Hava neranana, Hava neranana, Hava neranana v'nismecha. Ooh, Ru, Achim, Urachim, B'lev Sameach, Urachim, B'lev Sameach, Urachim, B'lev Sameach, Urachim, B'lev Sameach, Urachim, Urachim, B'lev Sameach.